Welcome back.
Hello. Hello.
Thank you. You just stepped all over my introduction.
Hello, loves. Hello, duckies.
Did you just say hello? No, I said hello.
Birds. I said hello.
I said hello.
Hello. With a L.
Say hey, Baxter. This is Baxter. He's joining us on the couch again for right now, and then he'll disappear and into the night, but periodically interrupt the show with his... Are you just going to lay down? Be good for once? Oh, that's something.
Yeah, it's matinee prices again.
Matinee prices.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
A show where two guys point the camera at themselves and talk about movies.
And everyone else regrets it.
And sometimes there's a dog. That's the show.
There you go.
That's our show.
That's what we do.
Yeah, we pitched that show to some higher ups, and they were like, "Seriously?" Mm. And they were like, "We like the dog, but the dog is always good, but you know."
The dog actually got a TV deal.
Yeah.
A couple of commercial spots.
Yeah.
And so he's got treats for the next 4 years.
He still won't kick in for rent, though.
Nope.
Little son of a...
Never will. That's the way it goes.
So, you know, so we've done episodes where we've talked about specific actors. You know, we've talked about certain people on the show. We talked about Richard Jenkins.
We talked about Richard Jenkins.
We talked about Jeffrey Combs.
We did a show on Jeffrey Combs.
We did a show about Jeffrey Combs. Mm. But you know who's really good, though?
Who's really good?
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage? The Dinkles?
Talking about the Dinkles.
Talking about the Dinkles? We're going to talk about the Dinkles, though?
We're talking about the Dinkles.
We're going to talk about the Dinkles.
We're talking about Richard Dinklage.
Richard? Is Richard?
Richard.
Richard Dinklage?
Richard Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage?
And cut! Peter Jenkins. Richard Dinklage. Cuba Gooding. I don't know.
We're talking about Diana Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have they never made a movie together?
How have they never made a movie together?
They should remake When Harry Met Sally with Peter Dinklage and Diana Ross. It would just be the weirdest freaking movie ever made.
The Graduate. Make The Graduate.
What happens when an 80-year-old former singer and a dwarf from Game of Thrones find love in the streets of New York?
Just tries to seduce her the entire show.
From Nora Ephron, coming this fall.
Oh, goodness.
When Diana met the Dinkles.
Shonda could do that.
Shonda Rhimes could do that. And it would be a hit.
It would be awesome.
And it would be a hit.
Well, like, Diana Ross and Peter Dinklage are just everywhere.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. So tonight's episode is about Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage.
The Dinkles.
Not Richard, his brother.
Yeah.
But Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. Yeah. Sorry for my screw up there.
His littler brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage is, you know who Peter Dinklage is, but he's one of my favorite actors. I feel like if you're a little person in Hollywood, if you're a dwarf actor, every role you're going to get is like you're playing the character of a dwarf. We're making like a Santa movie and he needs elves, or we're making like a Lord of the Rings movie and we need like Hobbit characters or dwarf. Like Peter Dinklage.
We need a whole bunch of people to follow the yellow brick road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Peter Dinklage just gets roles.
Yeah.
Like that aren't necessarily specific to it being a little person. It's just he's that freaking good. Like and a lot of like like in Elf, yeah, he has that little scene in Elf where it like the joke is that Buddy thinks he's an elf. But there's a couple of jokes about him being a dwarf in both versions of Death at a Funeral.
Right.
Which I think is amazing. They made Death at a Funeral and then they remade it with an African American cast. Cast Peter Dinklage to play the same guy in both movies.
In both parts.
Which was genius. And you watch either of those movies, like, Peter Dinklage is the best part of both of these movies.
Yep.
He's good. Chris Rock is awesome. Danny Glover is awesome in the remake. Awesome, yeah. But
Tracy Morgan's in there too.
Tracy Morgan. But Peter Dinklage, like whenever he's on screen, you're like, that guy is just awesome. But he kind of, I want to say he came out of nowhere because I'm sure he paid his dues and took like small roles. But that
wasn't a joke.
Let's say that. He took bit parts to work his way up.
Yeah.
But
phrasing.
People like there's no denying the man's talent. He's like certain people have this natural charisma, like a voice or the way they carry themselves. And Peter Dinklage is one of those guys. Like the dude is just cool. Like the dude, he's like James Dean, mid-90s Johnny Depp, cool. Peter Dinklage is the freaking man. And so we're raising a glass to Peter Dinklage, and we're going to talk about two very different movies starring Peter Dinklage. He's been in a lot of movies. When I was saying like taking roles that aren't written for a dwarf, like there's nothing in the movie, like
they're just parts.
It's a horrible movie, but in Pixels, like he's just a guy.
Right.
And in X-Men, where he plays Bolivar Trask.
Bolivar Trask.
There's no like short jokes that people are making. It's like he's just this guy in the movie that could have been played by anyone.
But they wanted somebody good.
They
got Peter Dinklage.
Yeah, exactly.
So
we'll start with this one because I want to devote more time to Station Agent.
Right on.
Knights of Badassdom is it's the LARP movie. LARP, if you don't know, stands for live action role playing. Is basically where adults go out in the woods and play Dungeons and Dragons. Like it's like part Dungeons and Dragons, part hide and seek. Apparently, it's not my thing. I've seen documentaries about it. It's interesting, and I'm not I spent a big chunk of my childhood playing Dungeons and Dragons, so I'm not on a pedestal or a high horse here. I'm not being preachy, but it's a movie. It's a comedy, horror, action, sci-fi, fantasy film. It's very much in the vein of Evil Dead. Some LARPers are doing some stuff. Steve Zahn's character reads this passage from a book. He doesn't realize the book is an actual like holy book that can summon demons.
A la Evil Dead.
A la Evil Dead. They summon a succubus, and she starts wreaking havoc, and a bunch of LARPers have to rise up and use their make-believe skills to actually like fight an evil demon for once in their lives.
Kind of like Pixels.
It's a lot like Pixels. Yeah, it's a lot like Pixels also with Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
And Peter Dinklage produced this movie. It was directed by Joe Lynch. Not a lot of credits. He created and co-stars in the show Holliston on FearNet, and he directed Wrong Turn 2. But the cast in Knights of Badassdom is top notch. This is the ultimate.
Yeah.
This is the ultimate. Like this cast of this movie has like geek, hipster, awesome movie cred written all over it. You've got Steve Zahn, who everybody loves. You've got Jimmy Simpson, who played Liam McPoyle on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You've got Dinklage. You've got Summer Glau from Firefly. You've got Danny Pudi, who played Abed on Community.
Woo!
Abed. You've got little Brian Posehn is in there a little bit.
Writer of Deadpool.
Yes.
Deadpool fans.
Yeah. Brian Posehn is the man. It's it's got a great soundtrack. It's a lot of like dark death metal. It stars also the star of the movie is Ryan Quanten. Ryan Quanten. If you don't know that, he plays Jason Stackhouse on True Blood, and he's really good in this. He's playing a very Jason Stackhouse-esque character. So great movie, awesome like heavy metal soundtrack. It's funny. It's gory, like Evil Dead. It walks that line between like slapstick comedy and like faces and throats being ripped out. They all have, like I said, they all have to like rise up and fight this actual demon. So there's a lot of bloodshed. A lot of people die. It's violent. It's very gory. Lots of cursing. It's rated R.
It's for kids, is what we're trying to say.
And Peter Dinklage, in addition to co-starring in the movie, was also the producer of the film.
Young children.
It's fantastic. It's not fantastic. It's a really fun movie. It's not a great movie. It's not thought-provoking in any way. But if you like this cast that I just routed off, if you like heavy metal music, if you like the kind of Dungeons and Dragons live-action role-playing type, stuff, then this movie is right in your wheelhouse. Like I said, it's cast full of like genre favorites.
It's kind of like Bitch Slap in that style.
It's
low budget,
fun.
but a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Still, like
you'll enjoy it.
Care. And,
It's not. They're
Duct
not.
tape.
They're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They obviously didn't have a lot of money, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Peter Dinklage plays Sir Hung.
Kind of like this
is
show.
his name. Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot of money and
Not a lot of money,
yeah,
but a
just
lot of
slapping it together.
but a lot of heart.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Except we don't have Peter
It's-
Dinklage.
yeah.
Well, we do right here.
We've got the dog version of Peter. If Peter Dinklage was a dog, he would be Baxter.
I don't know if Peter Dinklage would appreciate being compared to the dog. Baxter is
But
also
Baxter would love being compared to Peter
Oh,
Dinklage.
absolutely. Yeah.
No,
He
Peter
just
I think the Dinkles and Baxter would be tight. they would get along. So Knights of Badassdom, it's fun. If you're a fan of the melding of comedy, slapstick comedy, and like really extreme gore,
Nope.
right up your alley.
Hate it.
Check it out.
Sucks.
Dinklage,
No good.
Danny Pudi, Steve Zahn,
Who are these guys?
Jimmy Simpson,
Nope.
Brian Posehn,
Nope.
Summer Glau.
Okay, maybe her.
Check it out. You'll have a lot of fun. It's
You won't.
enjoyable.
Why are you even still here watching the show?
Man, would you? All right,
Subvert.
So we got Knights of Badassdom. That's a fun one. Now we're gonna shift gears completely and talk about. This is a movie that is literally one of my favorite movies. I say that a lot. This one,
You really mean it.
I can't
this
say
time.
enough about
You really,
this movie.
really mean it.
And this guy here is the reason I know about this movie, because we worked at VisArt and we had employee pick sections, and every employee would change out their employee picks every so often. Huru never did. Huru had 6 movies that were always his employee picks, and
They stay there.
and the 2 I always remember was Station Agent and 3 O'Clock High.
And 3 o'clock.
And I know you had and Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Not Chocolat with Johnny Depp, Chocolate, the Asian, the Japanese, Cantonese?
Thai.
Thai.
Yeah.
Martial arts movie. It's amazing. But Huru talked about The Station Agent a lot, and I'd never actually seen it. And then it's one of those times where it was some day where I was like, I don't have anything to watch. I'm just gonna. Huru is always talking about this movie. I'm just gonna. Screw it. I just gave in, and I watched The Station Agent, and for the next 2 hours, it was like the phone could have rang, that my house could have set on fire. I wouldn't have even noticed it. That's how entranced I was in this movie. This is one of those movies that sucks you into the world that it exists in. This is that rare, perfect movie.
Did you watch it at home or at work?
I watched it at work. I took it home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. You watched it at work. You took it home.
No, I got it from work. I took it home and watched it.
I watched it
it at home.
Okay, there we
Yeah, I
go.
got it from work. Took it home.
Okay.
Watched it. Yeah, because it's rated R, so we couldn't play the
Oh,
store.
that's true.
But
That really never.
But it was
stopped
you
us.
talking about it so much, and the fact that you had it on your shelf so much, and I always respect this guy's taste in movies because it's pretty similar to mine. So eventually I was like, well, this movie's got to be awesome because he's always talking about it, and it's always on his shelf. So I took it home, and it was literally now it's one of those movies. I own this movie, but if I'm ever channel surfing and it's on,
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Yeah.
It's I could watch this movie literally anytime I want, but if I'm flipping past the Sundance channel and The Station Agent is on, I'm like, all right, this is what I'm doing for the next 2 hours.
finishing this up.
Yeah, turn my phone off, and I'm watching The Station Agent. So get the ball rolling. About
So
The Station Agent.
I saw it when it first came out, and I wasn't even working at VisArt at the time. I was just getting my movies there, and I think I just discovered Patricia Clarkson.
Love her.
And I was so just impressed by her. I'm like, what else? I got to see the next thing that she's in. And
Yeah.
the next thing that came across my field of vision was The Station Agent. And I knew about Bobby Cannavale. These are the 3 main actors. I knew about Bobby Cannavale because he's just sort of an everyman. It was also an awesome actor, and I'd seen him in some stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. So that was just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Didn't know who Peter Dinklage was from Adam, from
Mhm.
Dirt on the Ground. I was basically there for Patricia, and I threw this movie on, and this was one of those, just like I talk about Diva, where it was a game changer.
A moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I never looked at movies the same way after I saw The Station Agent.
Yeah.
It was just another one of those. I'm like, they can make movies like this.
Exactly.
And while it's an American movie, it still wasn't Hollywood.
Exactly.
So that was another. This was one
Yeah.
of my big major like. Oh, this is not a Hollywood big budget.
Yeah.
They did this and they did this and they did this, and it's far superior to most of the stuff that I've seen,
Yeah.
like Summertime and big budget, and it just blew me away. It
Yeah.
really did.
And honestly, like I'd say, like when the movie was made, probably the biggest star in that movie was Michelle Williams because Dawson's Creek had just wrapped up.
Yep.
And she has a very small part in the movie, but like Michelle Williams was like the big name in this movie, and there's obviously they didn't have her for very. Like, she just pops up 2 or 3 times throughout the movie, but this is one of those movies that's hard to describe. Because like, well, what's the plot of Station Agent? It's like, well, it's people. It's like people having like human interaction. It's like it's people talking. It's people finding their faults and strengths through each other. It's a movie about it's a movie about outcasts. Like everybody in this movie is kind of an outcast. At least the 3 main characters. Patricia Clarkson, the messy divorce and the thing with her kid, and she just kind of wants to be left alone.
Yep.
Peter Dinklage plays Finn. Peter Dinklage always plays guys with cool names. Like his name is Finn. Is it Finn McBride?
Yeah.
Yeah. His Finn, and he's a dwarf, and he's like people always stare at him, and people like make bad jokes, and he just wants to be left alone. So he's this misanthrope character, and he's just kind of out of step. And then the Bobby Cannavale character is kind of also out of step because like he's he's the polar opposite of these people. Like he's very outspoken and jokey, and like, but he's also kind of an outcast because the 2 people that he wants to connect with the most are these 2 outsiders that just want to be left alone.
Right.
And he tries so hard just to like kind of be their friends and to be part of their life. And and eventually, he like kind of breaks down their facade. And
No, he doesn't.
Yeah. But you can't really find any faults with the Station Agent. There are great movies out there. There are movies that are on the AFI 100 list. There are movies that have swept the Oscars. But if you watch them, you can find a fault. There could be like one scene that's out of place. There could be an actor who's maybe not up to snuff with the rest of the cast. We were talking about the Scarface earlier. Scarface is a great movie, great script, great cinematography, great editing, great performances, but the music is horrible. It's that 1980s synth pop nonsense that's completely out of place in this movie. So, and if I'm not bagging on Scarface, I love Scarface, but rewatch that movie and really pay attention to the music, and see if you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot to make the music stop. Like it's bad. Great movie. This huge thing that's wrong with it. Station Agent, not a thing wrong with this movie. It's the rare movie that is 100% perfect, down to like the performances, the people that have like 1 or 2 scenes, like Tony, I'm blanking on his name, from Mad Men, the guy who plays her ex-husband.
Oh, right.
That was before Mad Men, years before.
Richard Kind plays
Richard Kind,
a comedian who I'd known from the Carol Burnett show.
Richard Kind,
the second one,
and Spin City,
and Spin City, yeah. So and he just plays a small role, and like it's nice and understated, and this is this does have faults. Let's put it this way. So this Station Agent does not have explosions. There are no guns or transforming robots.
Yeah, these are the faults.
There are no super leggy, big busty surfer model girls in bikinis.
Not a single kick to the face in this entire movie.
No jump kicks to the face or throwing stars or shurikens.
There's no pop. There's no top 40 hits on the soundtrack that I can remember.
So that's what this is this very slow, methodical, purposely controlled, character-driven drama.
Character-driven, dialogue-driven. This is one of those movies that's the script is the movie. The directing is amazing, And I was talking about this with my coworker Garrett, talking about like movies where there is written and directed by the same person.
Oh, right.
So and I was like, all of my favorite directors are people who write their own stuff,
Right.
like Tarantino, like the greats, Tarantino, Mel Brooks, Spike Lee. They write their own stuff and they direct it because they're like, I want to control the script that I wrote.
Right.
I don't want someone else to take my script and like start swapping stuff around and like cutting stuff and turning it into something else.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk a little bit about the director. This is Tom McCarthy, who is a true Renaissance man. He's a writer, director, and actor. If you're a fan of The Wire, Tom McCarthy played... I got some notes here. If you're a fan of The Wire, Tom McCarthy played... Where are my notes? Give me a minute here.
Tom McCarthy played
Tom McCarthy,
Mr. Notes. Mr. Where
played
Are My Notes?
Scott Templeton in The Wire. He was in several episodes of The Wire. He was on that show Boston Public. He was in the movies All the King's Men, Flags of Our Fathers, Baby Mama, Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers. He's an actor. As a writer, he wrote the story for the Pixar film Up. But his wheelhouse is writing and directing. He did The Visitor with...
Jenkins.
Richard Jenkins.
Yeah.
Tom McCarthy wrote and directed The Visitor with Richard freaking Jenkins.
Richard Jenkins.
And he won the Oscar last year for the movie Spotlight. This man is a fantastic, like I said, Renaissance man, writer, director, actor, producer. You saw
the poster hanging over our heads for like the entire first season.
The entire first season and
like,
some of the second season.
Yeah.
We had the station agent poster behind our heads.
There's a reason I own that sucker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a little bit about the cast. Like Huru mentioned, Patricia Clarkson,
Bobby
Cannavale, Michelle Williams, Joe Latrulio, Raven Goodwin, the little girl.
Oh, yeah.
What grade are you in? Such a cute little scene. And like I said, the guy, I want to say Tony Slattery, but that's a British comedian. He's in Mad Men. He's in The Station Agent. And Patricia Clarkson, I love Patricia Clarkson. I had the pleasure of meeting Patricia Clarkson at a party once. It was a rap party for the movie Main Street. And
Rap party.
Yeah, I got to go to the rap party.
Tupac and Snoop and...
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Smoke some weed with freaking Snoop Dogg.
So I got to meet like Colin Firth and some cool people, but I met Patricia Clarkson briefly. She spoke to me, she shook my hand, and I can honestly say maybe the most beautiful, not the most beautiful woman, not the most beautiful person. She was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It was
like out of all things.
It was like a rainbow had sex with a rose bush. And out came Patricia. It's like her hair was perfect, her makeup was perfect, her dress. It was like I could like what it would have been like to meet Grace Kelly or Audrey Hepburn. Aphrodite is the only thing I compare it to, and she was super sweet. She was really nice, and she's an amazing actress. She gives a really subtle, understated performance in Station Agent. She's been nominated for an Oscar for Pieces of April, another great movie.
Well, and this like killed it. Sundance.
Oh, some of the awards, yeah. So we're
Audience
talking about
Awards, Screenplay, Best Performance, Patricia Clarkson on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Independent Spirit Awards. It won Best First Screenplay for Tom McCarthy. It also won the John Cassavetes Award. That's huge. Dinklage was nominated for Best Male Lead at the Independent Spirit Awards and at the SAG Awards. It won the BAFTA for best screenplay. BAFTA is a British Association of Film, Theater, Arts. It's the British Oscars. It won Best Screenplay. It won the Audience Award at Sundance for Best Drama. It was nominated for the Grand Jury Prize at Sundance. So it's not just us that loves the Station Agent. Like the critics and the awards people and the film festival circuit took notice of this movie. This movie and Elf came out right after the Station Agent.
Yep.
So you can say that this is the movie where Peter Dinklage started getting work.
That's when I noticed him.
Yeah, and from then he went on to, Game of Thrones and all this other fantastic stuff he's doing. And,
Well, first was the two movies, Funeral, the two funerals.
the death at a funeral, yeah.
So, and then Game of Thrones.
And then Game of Thrones, and then Pixels, X-Men,
and now it doesn't matter. Like
and now he
whatever he wants.
And now he can turn down roles.
Yeah.
And I'm actually 99.9% sure about this. Dinklage is the first little person to ever win an Emmy.
Oh, okay.
For Game of Thrones. No dwarf actor has ever won an Emmy, and he earned it because he's the best. Like with Dinklage, is like if they ever killed Peter Dinklage off of Game of Thrones, I'd just quit watching it. Like I wouldn't care how the show ended. I'd be like, oh, he's not on the show anymore. I'm done. I wouldn't watch the show anymore.
What about the Dinkles though?
What about the Dinkles though? Oh, and a big props to Key and Peele for giving us like a little back and forth to completely rip off to like open our show.
We didn't rip it off.
No, we thought of that.
Yeah, we thought of that.
We wrote that.
We totally.
That. What is Key and Peele? Never heard of this
Lock and
show
Key
of which you speak. Is it even a show?
Orange Peel.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. That sounds like a silly name. That will never become big.
Yeah.
Or popular. So we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna stop rambling.
Peter Dinklage.
And wrap this
we gave
show
you a couple of movies. Knights of Badassdom. Probably never heard of it. It's a good one. You'll have some fun with it. Station Agent. Can't say enough about it.
Just watch that.
If you're a fan of this is like a master study in acting. Just this movie. If you wanted to be an actor, watch The Station Agent.
Yeah.
Watch the way the characters interact with each other. Watch the pauses. Watch the silences. Watch the way people are acting with their bodies and their eyes. This is a perfect movie.
Their bodies and their eyes.
Everything. This is the best actors that you could hope to find in this, playing these particular characters. This is a perfect movie. I'm rambling.
There you go.
Because I'm on beer number 3.
Yeah.
But this movie's amazing, and like I said, can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah.
Station Agent. Literally, I always say oh, this is one of my favorite movies, and a lot of them are. They all are, because I have a lot of favorite movies. But this cannot be messed with. You can't mess with The Station Agent.
We're gonna edit a lot of this stuff.
We're leaving it all in.
We're gonna edit.
We're gonna add more.
We're gonna edit. We're gonna bring Peter Dinklage in, and ladies and gentlemen, here now, Peter Dinklage. And then it's boom.
He's just gonna come in
into the show
and just slap me in the face and say cut.
Yeah,
and I would thank him for it.
And I'd be like, "Told you." I'd just kind of nod.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Nice shot, Pete."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Wicked.
Knights of Badassdom. Station Agent. Tom McCarthy. He's an amazing director. He's one of the best working. Check it out. Huru's doing something with his watch. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. You need to get your watch fixed?
Yes.
You want me to steal a second?
Just a thief of second
Keep
base.
watching movies that star Peter Dinklage. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Yeah, I see you.
It's the Baxter Show.
It's the Baxter Show.